Hello, everybody, and welcome to another special rundown for this Saturday show in Stevenage. It's the long-awaited return of the British J Cup, and the field is absolutely stacked. As always, I'm joined by Andy Quilden. Andy, how you doing?
Very good, thanks. Good to see you're a company man with the merchandise you've got on there, Gio. Where's the Rev Pro team?
Always. I might do a reprint of these. They're very popular.
Well, I'm wearing the new Zack Sabre Jr. TMDK shirt, which is available on shoprevpro.com because I am a true company man. So please check out shoprevpro.com for all your merchandising needs. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Revolution Pro Wrestling, and beyond. We've just added all the stuff from Royal Quest. So yeah. Anyway, we all right?
Yeah, doing fantastic. Just about recovered from Royal Quest, which featured a heavy Revolution Pro Wrestling presence, as reflected on this card as well. So, should we dive into these first round British J Cup matches?
Let's go.
Absolutely. So, we saw Leon Slater in action at Royal Quest 3, came up short in his quest to become one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. But this Saturday, he may be walking away as the British J Cup winner, but he's going one-on-one with the disruptor, Will Caven, who is looking to do just that, disrupt. Leon Slater has a lot of momentum under him right now, but, discredit Will Caven at your peril. We've seen him pick up huge wins time and time again.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're probably going to be saying this time and time again throughout this little preview that we've got going today. But this British J Cup is it's really been a very huge part in our calendars, and you just need to look at the prestige of the winners, starting with the inaugural winner, Jushin Thunder Liger, to see just how important, and look at the caliber of competitor that has competed for the right to hold the British J Cup. So this is a huge opportunity for all 8 participants who are in this tournament, and none more so than Ruthless Will Caven and indeed Leon Slater. And you say, Leon Slater, you look at this contest, you look on this contest on paper, you say Leon Slater, probably the firm favourite for this one, and one of the favourites for the tournament. But in doing that, you're discounting Ruthless Will Caven, who, as you say, he's been a disruptor since day one. No one thought he'd be able to beat Michael Oku, beat him. No one thought he'd be able to beat Robbie X, beat him. He's in this tournament now as a result of his performance in the tournament last year, where he made it to the final 2. And in that final 4, the finals of British J Cup, it was actually Will Caven who eliminated Leon Slater. So there's a deal of retribution to be gained for Leon Slater, but victory over Leon Slater is not something that is impossible or indeed improbable for Will Caven. He's going to like going into this contest as an underdog. He's got a very unique style. He's in your face. He's scrappy. He's something that Leon Slater hasn't faced before. And then Leon Slater's faced a diversity of opponents. But how do you prepare for someone like Will Caven? And that is the puzzle that Leon Slater is going to have to solve if he's going to get through to the final. Listen, what else is there to be said about Leon Slater? He's wise beyond his years. He's growing in poise. He's growing in confidence with each and every single performance. 1 year into his Revolution Pro Wrestling career, and you really feel that things are starting to turn for him. It all really came to a head, didn't it? Like I say, after that contest with Will Ospreay, we saw Leon Slater grow. And then we saw him defeat Dan Maloney at the anniversary show. And he just looks like he's on another level to what we've seen before. And this Saturday in Stevenage could be the validation that he needs to prove that he has arrived and to prove that the rest of this year and beyond belongs to the youngest in charge.
We also have a welcome return to Revolution Pro Wrestling in this year's tournament. Senza Volto, someone we haven't seen since 2019. No stranger to the British J Cup. He was an entrant in the 2019 edition. Go back to RevProOnDemand.com to see some of the fantastic matches he had for us. And who we're going on up against, Harrison Bennett. Now, Harrison, someone who announced his arrival in Revolution Pro Wrestling with a very memorable statement, gunning straight for the champ at the time, Robbie X. And you just know he'll be looking to make that exact same statement here as he looks to come away as this year's winner.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's so many paths of these competitors have intertwined and crossed in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if Harrison Bennett finds himself in front of a Robbie X, for example, if both men are successful in their first round contest going into the final. But yeah, as you say, Senza Volto, a welcome return to Revolution Pro Wrestling. We actually last saw him in 2020 prior to the world going mad. And unfortunately, he's one of the talents that we haven't used since COVID, to no fault of his own. Just when we came back from COVID, the airways weren't open, and it was a lot harder to bring people in from abroad with quarantine procedures, etc. And then during that time, so many young competitors forced their way into our thinking that mainstays from before kind of came to the back of our minds, and that's probably that's on us, but also it's a testament to all the talent that we have in Revolution Pro Wrestling. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the deepest and strongest roster that we've ever had. And adding Senza Volto to the mix, it only increases that depth. But Senza Volto, he's always going to have a chip on his shoulder because he's been watching from afar, and he knows that he can add to this division. He can add to this promotion. He knows he brings a unique sense of offense to his matches, to the shows. He brings something different. I he's another one I'll be backing. And I feel like before the pandemic, he was someone who was building up a bit of the head of steam. It looked like he was gunning towards that undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. And this is time for him to make up the lost time, pick up where he left off. But Harrison Bennett's going to be standing in his way, and much like Will Caven, Harrison Bennett fancies himself as a bit of a disruptor, doesn't he? Perhaps one of the most underrated professional wrestlers plying their trade in the United Kingdom. He's certainly gone to a long way to trying to right some of those wrongs since showing up in Revolution Pro Wrestling in spectacular fashion. And again, this Saturday, it just represents another opportunity for both of these men, again, to announce their arrival and to say, hey, guys, listen, I don't know, you're looking for all the next big things, etc. But we've been here all along, and we're just as good, if not better, than anyone else. And, like I say, a win in the British J Cup, it gives you that validation. It gives you that credibility, and it sets you off. It puts you right in contention to become the #1 contender to the undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. Because let's not forget that the Cruiserweight champion, Connor Mills, is not in this tournament. It's the first British J Cup where the champion hasn't been involved, and that's all his own choice. So he's put himself in a position where whatever happens, the winner of this tournament will get a shot in December at that undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship.
Certainly setting things up for an interesting future. Now, either of the men in those contests are going to have to face one of these men, and this is one lineup. We have the Cruiserweight monster, the wild boar Mike Hitchman. We've said time and time again how he brings that different edge to the Cruiserweight division, how he has everyone on their toes, and he's going up against Alex Zane, someone who RevPro fans are very excited to see compete in this J-Cup. And he's no stranger to Cruiserweight tournaments himself, of course, competing in the 2022 Best of the Super Juniors. Impressive performances, but a less than stellar win-loss record. But we're looking to right that wrong this Saturday, but Wild Boar is not going to make it easy for him.
Yeah, an exciting debut in Alex Zane, someone I've been very interested in bringing into Revolution Pro Wrestling for a long while. He's a very innovative wrestler. He is deceptively big as well, and he's on the larger end of the cruiserweight scale. Perhaps in that sense, you could call him unorthodox. But if you want to talk about unorthodox in the cruiserweight division, you need to look no further than Wild Boar. Just absolutely unique, isn't he? They call him the cruiserweight monster for a reason. He's short, he's stocky, he's powerful, he knows how to distribute his body weight, he's in your face, he's smash mouth, he seems oblivious to any kind of pain. He's only got one gear, and that gear's go. They say styles make matches. These two men have very contrasting styles, but to me, it's one of those, you look at his card up and down, and there's many, I don't think any of these matches are going to miss because of a talent involved. But this is one of those matches you get excited for. A first time contest between two of the most unique and exciting professional wrestlers in the world today. And it's my privilege to be able to present it at Revolution Pro Wrestling in Stevenage this Saturday. I genuinely feel it's going to be one you don't want to miss. And I think whoever wins this contest could be the favourite to take the whole thing.
Hard to argue there with two such contrasting styles. And the last of our first round matches, we have Robbie X going up against Mascara Dorada. Now, Robbie X is looking to become the first ever back-to-back British J-Cup winner, but standing in his way is Mascara Dorada, who is part of our continuing relationship with CMLL, and just expect fireworks of this one.
I think that this is, without a doubt, going to be a show stealer. I can say this about every single match on the card, but Robbie X is absolutely at the top of the game. How impressive did Robbie X look at the Fantastica Mania UK weekend, taking headlines and getting people's attention? Look at the attention he got in the anniversary show, being one of the standouts in that Cruiserweight Championship Scramble match. And again, this past weekend at Royal Quest. Without a doubt, the world is Robbie X's oyster. The world is starting to take notice of Robbie X, and he's starting to become no longer the world's best kept secret, the best wrestler you'd never heard of. All these ways we could describe him is no more, because this year, and really since coming to Revolution Pro Wrestling, well, look, post-pandemic, should we say, because he only really had a little. It was starting to turn heads pre-pandemic, and after the pandemic, it was after that contest with Will Ospreay at the Portsmouth Guildhall, which I'd advise people to seek out on RevProOnDemand.com, where Robbie X went toe-to-toe, hold for hold with the best wrestler in the world, and then after that contest, Will, for lack of a better term, stuck a boot up his ass and said to him, "Listen, you are good. You are real good. You take this seriously, and you can become a world beater." And Robbie X, he took that advice. He dropped a lot of weight. He became quicker, if that was even possible. But you see he's ripped now. You see the size of his legs, the leg strength he has. You see him squatting massive human beings in his professional wrestling matches, more determined than ever. That run of form from that point on led him to become the British J-Cup winner last year. It led him to become the undisputed British Cruiserweight champion. He wants to get back to the top of the mountain. He wants to make history. He's spoken time and time again about fighting for legacy now. And he wanted so badly to defeat Michael Oku's record as a most offending Cruiserweight champion of all time. I think he was 3 matches short of achieving that accolade, and that was heartbreaking for him. But another way he can make a record is by being the first man to be the back-to-back British J-Cup winner. And then, of course, he'll then look to try and recapture that British Cruiserweight Championship gold, and then perhaps go on to try and set that record for all-time defenses that he has in his sights. So a huge moment, a huge opportunity for Robbie X. And then you look opposing him, Mascara Dorada, one of the most exciting young wrestlers in the world today. Of course, until recently, he was known as Mascara Dorada 2.0. Since that point, the 2.0 has gone, and he's simply known as Mascara Dorada, taking on that name, that lineage of a Mascara Dorada character, if you will. He's been making headlines around the globe as well. He's had so many great matches as of late. Of course, there's that headline-making match against Robbie X. He's wrestling Robbie X this Saturday, and I hope that match makes headlines. Headline-making match against Rocky Romero. He had a fantastic contest a couple of weeks ago against Titan. So him and Robbie X have got that in common with one another. And many people are tipping Mascara Dorada to be the next breakout star, the next huge star in CMLL. And we're talking along the lines of your Mysticos, Volador Juniors, etc. And they put Mascara Dorada as the next on the list in terms of being that huge star. He's young, but he's hungry, and he's so exciting, and that is exactly why he's going to fit in so well at Revolution Pro Wrestling. And again, as you say, an evolution, a continuation of a relationship between Revolution Pro Wrestling and CMLL in Mexico. And it's a welcome addition to this worldwide tournament, which has seen representation from CMLL in the past. Of course, we saw Cavernario in the 2019 edition of this tournament. And it's really a tournament which gets eyes from around the world watching. And you look at the men who've competed across the years, the caliber, and this year's is no different. This is going to be a British J-Cup to remember for a long time to come.
It certainly is. There's your field, and there's your first round matches. Promises to be an absolutely stacked tournament, but we're not slowing down because on the rest of the card, we have three other bangers. Now, the last time this match happened, we called it the fight for the future, but these two men have undoubtedly already announced their arrival. Luke Jacobs going up against Ricky Knight Jr. Now, while RKJ is in the midst of the Great British Tag League, he has never stopped talking about how he never lost that heavyweight championship and how he wants it back. But Luke Jacobs has certainly been making the case for himself as well.
Yeah, there's a laundry list of professional wrestlers who want that undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. Listen, if you're a professional wrestler plying your trade anywhere in the world, why would you not want that British Heavyweight Championship? Look at the wrestlers who have held it over the years. We're talking the likes of Katsuyori Shibata, Tomohiro Ishii, AJ Styles, Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, and now, of course, Michael Oku. And that's, you know, many, many more as well. Fantastic. Hiroshi Tanahashi, you know, fantastic professional wrestlers have held that championship gold. It's got a real lineage to it. And when you hold that championship, it's a real statement. And both those two men want to make a statement, as you alluded to. We called it the fight for the future. Now it's the fight for now, because the winner of this contest, they line themselves up and put themselves in contention to be the #1 contender to the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, as we say, currently held by Michael Oku, but we don't know for how much longer, as we're gonna get to in a minute. But you know, both men want it so bad, and as you say, Ricky Knight Jr. right now, he's in that Great British Tag League. Is that going to prove a distraction? You know, he's doing it, I guess, for Uncle Zach, if you will, being unselfish in what could be selfish times, but he remains focused, and you never bet against Ricky Knight Jr. And I think that this is a real opportunity for RKJ to get that rematch, get that shot at that undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. Look, he already has a mental edge in this one because he holds a victory over Luke Jacobs at York Hall, Bethnal Green. Of course, Luke Jacobs, I'm sure I know the type of competitor that Luke Jacobs is. He will have learned from that contest. He will have thought about that contest a lot since that day. And he will be coming into this one with a new game plan. He's also put on a lot of size since that moment. And it's going to be a different proposition that RKJ is competing against this Saturday in Stevenage. Two very stubborn competitors, two men who are without a doubt not just a future of Revolution Pro Wrestling, but the now. And you know, this Saturday is going to be that case of an irresistible force versus the immovable object, and something has to give.
When we were last in Southampton, we announced this match on commentary, and it's a match that we have been wanting to have for a long time, and certainly one of the competitors in this match has wanted. For the undisputed British Women's Championship, it will be Kanji going up against the defending champion Alex Windsor. Now, Kanji is someone who just made her return to Revolution Pro Wrestling after nearly a year away. It's been a real fight for her to come back, and as we said, this is finally a Kanji that's at 100%, but this is also an Alex Windsor that will do anything, will fight tooth and nail to hold on to that undisputed British Women's Championship.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time for this contest to happen. I mean, we've come close. We've announced this. We've signed the contracts. We've been close on so many occasions to making this contest happen. Kanji, I saw her on social media. She said, it's destiny. This Saturday is destiny, and is part of the destiny for Kanji becoming the undisputed British Women's Championship. We'll have to wait and see. The thing that excites me the most about this contest is both women are now back to 100%. So for Kanji, we saw it against Sapphire Reed in that phenomenal contest in London, didn't we? Kanji is a different animal to what we've seen before, and really since Kanji came back, she's admitted since she came back in our empty arena shows in the pandemic, before then getting re-injured shortly after, before we got back in front of live crowds, and Kanji has admitted that she hasn't been one, and then she came back again from that. After that point, she came back again, and she's admitted that during that whole run where she competed at the top level in women's wrestling, she's admitted she wasn't ever 100%. And now she feels finally she's 100% physically, she's 100% mentally, she's 100% spiritually. And she feels that this is a perfect time to challenge Alex Windsor for the undisputed British Women's Championship. On the flip side, you've got an Alex Windsor who, yes, she's got a new attitude. And you can question that new attitude if you like, but you can't question her ability. She's always had a real ability about her, a real sense of just doggedness, determination. We saw it come through in that championship defense against Danny Luna. It looked like that championship was slipping from her fingers at the main event of our last show in St. Neots. But Alex Windsor, she clung on, and she grabbed victory out of the jaws of defeat. And she showed us that she's still got that steely grit and determination, but now she's just got an edge. She's got that killer instinct that perhaps she didn't have before. And not just that, since Alex Windsor's come back as well, we've seen gradual improvements with each and every single match that she's been in, with perhaps her best outing yet coming against Danny Luna in St. Neots. And that means that she's peaking at the right time. The ring rust is being shaken off. And, you know, she had a long time out. And no matter how many people say to you, yeah, you're 100%, yeah, you're good to go, it takes a little while, you know, because you have to get the confidence in your body yourself. You have to start testing your body again and finding where the limitations are, working out if you're back to where you were. You then need to get your ring fitness back to where it needs to be. There's no form of cardio like professional wrestling. Any wrestler will tell you that. You can't go in the gym and run on a treadmill. You can't get on the cross trainer. You can't do the stair stepper. Yes, all of that stuff will help, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And now Alex Windsor's back to where she needs to be. These two women are, without a doubt in my mind, the two top of their game right now. They sit with a rightful position as challenger and champion. And I think whoever wins this contest this Saturday can say that undisputedly the number one in this country, in Europe. So that's what you want. When you look at an undisputed British Championship match, women's, men's division, whatever have you, you want to know that the winner of that contest is number one. And that's what we'll be hoping to see this Saturday in Stevenage. We'll be hoping to see a decisive winner, and we'll be hoping to see a fantastic professional wrestling match. And with these two women at 100%, both with different mindsets, both with contrasting views and opinions, you know, this is the type of match which stylistically they're made for each other. And it's a type of match to get excited about because, you know, they're going to show exactly how much that undisputed British Women's Championship means. It's a main event worthy of any place in Europe. And, you know, and we're going to see it on a night of main events this Saturday in Stevenage. And I'm going to feel privileged to be able to call the action. I can't wait. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of women watching in the wings who are going to want to pick up the pieces of whatever's left because, you know, these two women are going to go to war.
Well, from one undisputed title to the other, the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship is on the line. Michael Oku defending against Bullet Club War Dogs, Gabe Kidd. Now, this is an unhinged Gabe Kidd. This is a pissed off Gabe Kidd. And this is the Gabe Kidd that we saw essentially take Michael out in Sheffield. That match did end in a no contest. Both men had to be helped out of the arena not under their own steam. But what we saw before that was just this unrelenting barrage from Gabe Kidd. It was like a cyborg. Michael Oku couldn't defend himself. And if that is the case on Saturday as well, I really think we could be seeing the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship in the War Dogs camp.
Yeah, like, look, Gabe Kidd, he's war ready, he's hungry, he's determined, he's tenacious, he's nasty in the ring, he's forward moving always, he goes 100 miles an hour, and he's unrelenting. He will push the pace. That contest against Michael Oku, he'd got Michael Oku in a half crab, Michael Oku's own move within seconds of that contest. It was bell ring, Gabe Kidd saw red, he charged like the young bull that he is, and just battered Michael Oku. What got Michael Oku through that contest was his durability, his resilience, and his heart and determination. And those two men, and look, Michael Oku gave just as good as he got. do not write Michael Oku off for a second, because I think in that contest, Michael Oku proved a lot to a lot of people, but they went to war with one another. And that's the type of contest where in the history of combat sports, you see a contest like that, and the two men who contest in a match like that often want to stay apart from each other for the rest of their careers, because that is the type of match which is dangerous for both men involved in the contest. It's career shortening. It's an epic rivalry. And to me, like, I look at this contest and I feel like this is just a chapter in this rivalry, because this is a match which can be played out time and time and time again. It's never going to go old, because there's so many ways this contest can play out. I've tried to think about it in my mind. You know, you've got to think that Michael Oku is going to be prepared for Gabe Kidd's barrage, his assault, his onslaught that he's going to look to bring from the bell. Is Gabe Kidd going to understand this fact and look to try and take things slowly? Gabe Kidd, we know, is absolutely no slouch on the mat as well. He's one of the best pure wrestlers in the world also. So, you know, there's so many ways this contest can go. You know, is Michael Oku going to look for evasion, for defense to be the best form of offense? You know, so many ways that this one can go. But ultimately, what I believe it's going to come down to is who wants it more. Because we know how much Michael Oku wants it, but listen, Gabriel Kidd has waited his whole life for the validation that comes with being the undisputed British heavyweight champion. He has a chip on his shoulder. There is no doubt he feels he deserves a level of respect a lot higher than he's been receiving. You saw him in the G1. You saw the way he ran for opponents in the G1. And you saw the fact that win, lose or draw, he didn't care, because he was there to make statements. And in many times, trying to make statements is what cost him the contest, because he wouldn't be satisfied with just getting a quick 1, 2, 3. He wanted decisive victories. He wanted emphatic victories. And sometimes that would cause him to fall into traps. And you could say, is that a sign of immaturity? Perhaps it is from Gabe Kidd's perspective. However, he had one goal, one objective in mind, and that was to get noticed. That was to get the eyes of the wrestling world on him. And that's exactly what's happened. And right now, the stakes are high. They're so high, because that championship's on the line. And you've got to think, because that championship's on the line, Gabe Kidd isn't going to allow himself to make those same stupid mistakes that he made in the G1. And this is his opportunity. This is his chance. You hold that championship, the question marks are gone. You've got the validation that you've been looking for. And Michael Oku's not going to want to lose that validation as champion. And Michael Oku fought for so hard and so long to get to where he's got to. And he's not about to let Gabe Kidd rip that championship from his grasp this Saturday without one hell of a fight. And one hell of a fight is exactly what we're going to get at the Gordon Craig Theatre this Saturday.
Well, there are your announced matches for this Saturday's card. But of course, we have, as yet to be determined, as by the nature of the tournament, the final of the British J Cup. So the winners of the 4 first-round matches then advance to the final, which is a fatal 4-way elimination match. And it's this kind of match where it really is last man standing. It breeds paranoia. You have to have your eyes in the back of your head. We see temporary alliances. We see betrayals. But most importantly, it's going to be the 4 best cruiserweights in the UK vying out to see who will be the 2023 British J Cup winner.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's every man for himself. And whatever way the first round matches go, whatever combination of 4 professional wrestlers we find in the finals, it's going to be a world-class final. It's got the potential to be the best British J Cup final that we've had yet. And like I say, whoever wins this contest, December uprising, they get their shot at the undisputed British Cruiserweight champion, whomever that may be. So the stakes are high, and you get to add your name onto that list. Let's just run through. Jushin Thunder Liger, El Phantasmo, Michael Oku, Speedball Mike Bailey, Robbie X. That's one hell of a list of professional wrestlers who've held that British J Cup. So, you know, whoever adds their name to the list this Saturday in Stevenage is absolutely deserving of that honor and that privilege. and you'd have to make them odds-on favourite to go on to become the cruiserweight champion if they can ride the flow of momentum that winning the British J Cup will bring. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be epic. Every single one of those 8 matches could main event any show in the world. And that's the caliber of wrestling we're bringing you at Revolution Pro Wrestling. If you can be there live, and if not, RevProOnDemand.com.
Thank you so much for joining me, Andy. It's going to be an elite class of competition this Saturday, and I can't wait. Thank you for joining us for this rundown, and we'll see you soon.